actually talk about something I want to talk about, because I feel like I think other people have covered the subject, but I think what I'm probably gonna mention hasn't really been covered. I mean, like, I would love to see a video talking about it, I guess. But there's this video I watched. It's like about how underground artists and mental illness is like a strong correlation. But I want to say it's like the whole genre is very vague, and it's just has a lot of artists and a lot of subgenres in that genre itself, and they're like a couple of people and groups of people who make music that kind of stick out to me and kind of change the meaning of like what this music is to me and how I enjoy it. And it all started for me like when I got into this type of music like 5 years ago, and like on SoundCloud and stuff. And before, there really wasn't necessarily different types. It was just either like certain kinds of sounds that were getting in popularity, like Destroy Lonely sounds, like things like that, you know what I mean? So that was really popular even back then. I guess it was like in no mainstream attention, right? But in the underground scene, this was the sound. And it was just typical, rapping, but also rapping about being a regular person as well, just surviving and just, rapping about your struggle, because a lot of people with the mental, health issues would rap about their struggles too. And what I noticed about what this person said in this video, specifically referencing that same video, he was saying that like these people, they need their mental illness to make them creative, so they kind of make their persona their mental illness, right? Like essentially that's how they have like these sort of like visions to make art in the first place, right? And I noticed like, oh, okay, that's interesting. But I think now we're seeing like different kinds of people have a talent, and they're not necessarily mentally ill. And people like to say, oh, but like it's just not the same, or it just doesn't hit the same. And I feel like really what determines what's gonna hit a certain way is where it comes from, right? So if you're coming into music, you're trying to emulate a sound, like the people who are mentally ill and they know how to do it, and you're just replicating that, it's not gonna be genuine. I feel like people notice that right away. Or you could have that passion in you, but you also don't really have mental illness, but you still struggle. You're a human being. You also deal with addiction issues as well. Let's say they're not as extreme as more infamous people in the underground scene, but they're still there. It's just things normal people deal with. We all have that one person who can't put down the drink or whatever. They can't. Right, so some people use that as a vessel to create, and talk about their everyday struggles because it's relatable, or it's just for them to vent. A lot of music has become this sort of like venting of expression, whether it's like relationship issues, substance abuse issues, just being broke issues. People make music about it. And I don't really think you necessarily have to have a mental illness to make good music. It just, all that matters is where it comes from, right? So I was like noticing that there seems to be like this subgroup of in the underground scene or whatever, right? I mean, music is just music. It doesn't really have like a group or whatever it is, but I would associate it based on like what type of music it kind of fits into. So I'm gonna say this is underground rap because it has the characteristics of rapping. It has the same, beats, same type of mixing, whatever it is, the same type of collaborators. We're gonna call it that subgenre, that. Even though maybe the artist, you could argue and be like, well, no, they do this, they that. Okay, it's not the point. I guess the point is we're seeing a different purpose for making music, I feel like um people, they're not really calling themselves artists, or they don't call themselves rappers either, because it's not what they do. They do everything. Becoming like they're becoming like multitaskers and everything. They produce their own music, they mix their own music, they write their own music. It's like, are you a rapper? No. It's like, or you're a collective, and each person has their different roles, and you make good music because of that. So I was thinking about that. I was thinking about like, oh, some people just like make art to make art, but they're also dealing with shit. I mean, what else would you talk about, right? And I feel like there's this group of like artists that make really good music because of the way that they're expressing themselves and the way they decided to go towards it. Like, I guess an example would be like Feng. Like, he is really popular, but he kind of sticks out in the way that the things that he raps about is really just appealing to nostalgia, as well as just being your own person. And that type of empowerment is not really seen in any like rapper, quote unquote, or underground scene, really. And creating that kind of president, which maybe he wasn't even the first person to rap in that way, but getting that type of popularity, maybe because using like popular sounds or collaborating with certain artists, just kind of puts you to that same validity, and what you're rapping about. Like, a lot of people like make fun of him, or like they're like, oh, he's like, trying to be like 2010s, he's trying too hard, whatever people have to say. But ironically, I think they're one of the most genuine people out in music in the underground scene at the moment, because of the way that they talk and the way that he says anything, really. You're just kind of like breaking barriers of like what it means to tell a story in your music, and who you're inspired by, and who makes you write your music. So it's just really refreshing to see that in music right now, and that you're getting rewarded for that, and that you're getting rewarded for being yourself, and that self doesn't necessarily have to be the worst version of yourself. It's someone who, he talks about, being Christian. He talks about how he's like trying to live mindfully and trying to improve himself, and that kind of like type of music is inspiring to people, because they also want to do that as well. So it sort of becomes a positive feedback loop within the music, and it kind of becomes like more higher, like quote unquote vibrational type of music. You could argue some songs, right? Sometimes you're just trying to have fun. Sometimes songs are going to be about that. That's completely fine. Nobody's in a box for anything. Just some of the things that kind of occur kind of create that like positive more feeling when you're listening to this type of music. And it's so refreshing, because most of the music is about getting drugged up, doing whatever, hurting yourself, sabotaging yourself, because it comes from like the mental illness. And some people are using that, well, they still struggle with that, they turn it into something positive, they turn it into something spiritual and empowering. And that's what I really like feel drawn to and gravitated towards too when it came to Fang, because I feel like not a lot of people really analyze this music like that, because part of it is being in the moment and just enjoying what you have, and who you're spending time with, and just the simple things in life, right? That's really what I feel like, that's who he is as an artist. And I really do see that in the music. Or like it could be like other regions of the globe, like collectives, and more like ambient type of music that kind of goes into rap as well, and just kind of like singing and melodic like transient type of sounds that kind of put you in this like meditative state at times. I guess like I would really recommend like Shed Theory for like anything like that too, to be honest, because it's like I wouldn't even know what to group them as. I just like know like the type of music they make. It's like it can go from rap to ambient to anything, singing, whatever, because of how diverse the entire group is. It's like more than one person and everybody just kind of has something different to bring. And like the theme, I would say that the themes are very consistent, and it's all about like being your own creator in a way. So being able to tell your own story, having your own space to tell your own story, the concept of a shed, the concept of having a designated space where you can explore your imagination and whatever you want to create, and just have it be like exclusive to only creating and only those people in that group. It's a sacred space, similar to how a church is a sacred space where you pray. A shed where they make their music is a sacred space where they make music. So I really see like the parallels between the purpose of those kinds of things that they do, and I guess listening to their newer music that came out tells a story of that, and then tells a story of transformation and just abundance within yourself. And a lot of people, a lot of these people do struggle with addiction, and they struggle with different things that maybe like they'll never really get to fully express. But through music, you're given a tool to share it with the world, and I think it's so beautiful. And there's other artists who are also, because they're paving a way like that, there's artists who also follow, and they get to express themselves, and they get to write what they want to write, get to make what they want to make because they see other people doing it. It's no longer like, oh, I need to stay mentally ill because this is what's gonna be, this is the only thing, this is the only way. Like what we see now with other artists and the way that they're making music, it's like you can make music about anything as long as it's telling a story that compels people, whether it's positive, like changing your life and trying to just kind of be in a higher state of consciousness, or whatever people like to think about, or I guess a path of staying in a destructive feedback loop, and just what most quote-unquote modern day music can be described as, right? Sort of like low vibrational, trying to have a fun time. Let's not think about the future. Let's not think about that. Let's just fuck up our life. We're all fucked up. But there's a fine line between talking about your past traumas and moving on and moving to something new, versus soaking in it and being like, this is the way I am. This is who I am. I'm this is that. And with the current state of music, there are artists who I've never seen before just gain popularity through their lyrics and through the way that they write music. Some of these lyrics, it looks like poetry, written in as if it's not even a song. It's really crazy, honestly. And it's crazy to see how young, and how on the surface it seems like, oh, these people don't really have anything to say. It's like the same stuff, but really when you look into it, it's like, wow, I can't believe that's in a song. I can't believe I'm hearing something like this, and this is its only version of this. And I feel like that's why it's so appealing to like certain people, this type of music. I mean, that's why it's appealing to me. And these are some of my favorite songs by people, the way that they write music. And it's not just rap, they do everything. They have to do everything. To just kind of be good at something, you kind of have to try a little bit of everything. So it makes sense why they're good at what they do.